Hey guys, and welcome to the Get Life podcast. This is episode 51. Last week we talked about Call of Duty Zombies, and this week I decided to kind of mix it up. And I really wanted this guy on the podcast for ages, mainly because of what he does. So, introduce yourself.
Howdy there, so I'm Jimmy and I run Loading, or as you might see it come up on kind of Twitter, Facebook and things, Drink, Relax, Play, and then we do kind of gaming themed cocktails and game of coffee and generally anything to do with gaming, basically.
Which is obviously very awesome. The way I actually found out about these guys were, I think, like Game and things were tweeting about you guys and things like that. So, pretty, I kind of latched onto it very quickly and checked you guys out, and you're pretty much awesome. So, where did you come up with the idea of the loading bar?
Loading bar, so it came around, I did kind of media at college and then a BA in film at uni, which, if anyone's done those kind of degrees, are never the best for kind of getting a job that pays quite well. So I came out of uni and was working as a chef, and then did that for a year and got a bit bored of working mega hours, and the money was alright, but you kind of don't have time to spend it and it's stressful. So I started looking at, if I was going to do that much work, what could I do that was more for myself? And then the idea of kind of computer games had always been around, and there wasn't really anywhere in Falmouth you could kill time, so that was trying to bring in everything that I liked about games into one space. So originally I wanted to kind of sell new and old games and t-shirts and other bits, and then once you find out what budget you have and how expensive it is, kind of bits got dropped off, so it was more starting just as a cafe bar and seeing where that went.
So, yeah, it seems like a very, I would say successful, considering all the drinks that you've done and things like that. So, do you want to talk about them? Yeah,
kind of the drink side was something we brought out about 6 months after we opened, and then it was just by chance really that someone at Capcom had seen, I think Games TM ran a little piece on us, and then they had a look through our menu on our website and just got in touch really and said they liked them, but we'd not really done anything Capcom related, and kind of were we interested in doing something for them, and like, you're not going to turn it down. So we said, like, definitely awesome. Then because it was their 15th anniversary of Resident Evil, it just kind of made sense to do a tribute to that, and that's when we came up with the G&T virus, and then kind of that one came out and did quite well, and then it just snowballed from there really, that we ended up getting roped in to do different ones, and then it's usually a bit of a mix of things customers or fans suggest for us to do, or kind of newer titles coming out, or just actual commissions where we've done a couple of game launches, and that's always the nicest because you're getting paid to go and do it. Different jobs for different reasons. Like the stuff we did with Konami with the Metal Gear shot sets was mainly like a fan piece, just because I love that game and it was a good excuse to do it. So to get to do that was just pretty fun.
Well, it sounds like it. Let's talk about the Minecraft piece that you did, because it looks amazing, and obviously I'm guessing it tastes amazing as well.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. It's the first time I started getting a bit stupid with my drink ideas. So I've got my long-term photographer Will, who is the man that has to make my stupid ideas look half presentable. And the Minecraft one was, I'd found these square shot glasses online, and obviously Minecraft's huge, so we thought it'd be a nice thing to do that people would kind of be into. And then it was just, he then had to make it work by building this kind of structure to support all the shot glasses out of cardboard and doing the measurements and handling the logistics. But yeah, we were quite impressed at how well it went down, and then obviously it ended up all over the place, and Wired then saw it and asked us to rebuild it and so they could reshoot it themselves. So that was a whole different experience, because we're used to shooting drinks kind of in the bar and double bed sheets and quite low tech solutions, whereas they obviously had top notch studio and studio lighting, different conditions. So it was definitely opened us up to a whole new audience, I guess.
So where do you come up with the flavours? Because I know you have some crazy things going on, you know, thin layer of Baileys and stuff like that. So where do you come up with all these?
So with the different ones, it depends. Different drinks come around for different reasons. So it might be like customer suggests a name. So when there was someone on The Guardian that had the kind of Deus Ex on the beach idea, which means that kind of wrote itself that you had, it was always going to be a lot like a Sex on the Beach. So we kind of took that and It was just about tweaking it to make it fit the game. So Goldschlager with all the golden shards worked nicely. Whereas with something like the Minecraft shots, it was more about getting the colours to match the game. So you're kind of tied to finding things that work together and match. So the kind of Absinthe Bailey's Kahlua thing is really tasty and worked really well for the colours. So that was definitely a blessing that they worked together, and it was something that tasted pretty nice. But other times we'll just sit around and keep pouring spirits, and if no one's sick by the end of it, we've probably done something right, so we stick with those.
Okay, and what if someone wanted to buy, let's say, the Minecraft kind of shot set?
Yeah, the Minecraft shot set. So when we did it, it was always kind of a stunt piece, and a few people were asking like, oh, if you wanted to buy it, how much? So we kind of put that out that if it was 82 doubles at like £1 a shot, it would still be somewhere around like £164. So it's something we can do if people get the urge. It's definitely something you want to share with some friends. That I thought, I don't know whether you'd be able to take on 82 doubles on your own, but I'm sure someone could.
Maybe you can have that like a challenge.
Yeah, I think the few people that have toyed and come close to getting it, that's definitely been something they've thought of just could they drink that many in the night. So someone's bound to do it at some point. I don't know whether it'd be me though.
Well, you never know. Maybe it could be.
Possibly. I'd have to be up in my drinking. And yeah, I don't think I'd be opening the next day, but never say never.
Don't mention Justin Bieber, please. Just. I'll forgive you that. I'll forgive that because pretty much you do awesome things. And let's talk about the coffee.
So originally when I opened, I'd got a bit kind of frustrated that most places that seemed to do coffee, it was always about getting the cheapest you could get hold of. So I spent quite a while trying to find a company that did, like, we'd pay the extra for it but make sure that it was a good blend, and then it was actually a different supplier. And you don't normally get companies that kind of recommend someone else, but when they came in and spoke to us and saw the kind of the game brand we had and what we were looking to do, they just recommended this company that really specialised in doing dedicated blends, so tailoring it to what you want. So we just kind of met up with them, tried a few coffees, spoke to them about what we were trying to do, and settled on this blend that we really liked, and then served it in the bar for about 6-7 months, and then kind of had the option of doing the things in tins. And it was just different people started getting in touch when things like the Minecraft shots came out or whatever, and people spotted those, and we found with not being the easiest place to get to in the world, it was a nice way of kind of doing a small piece of what we do and putting that elsewhere in the world. So we kind of put it together, and my designer loved the Mega Drive, so he got to kind of do a bit of a fan tribute to that, and it just kind of fell into place, and so far it's done pretty well, so I can't complain. We're just looking at doing different bits and pieces with it and other spin-offs. So a tea at some point would be nice, but it was just juggling the costs of you've got to get it all made beforehand, and anything with packaging is more expensive than I thought it would be, and it's definitely been educational, that's for sure.
And another good thing that I've noticed about the coffee, 9p of it goes to special effect, which is always awesome.
Yeah, it was something, my girlfriend's from Oxford, so I kind of stumbled across them by mistake, and then really liked what they were doing, and it's probably the first kind of games dedicated charity I'd come across. And like with any coffee you get, you tend to see them, they'll do something, be it a charity tie-in or like a Rainforest Alliance donation. So I got in touch with them and just said, kind of, would they be interested in letting us kind of put their message on the box and then kind of give something back to them as part of it. And it was a nice way of kind of upping its gaming credentials and giving them a bit of promotion at the same time. So they're kind of a charity we're looking to do more with, and it's been great. Kind of we've been doing that for about 12 months and seeing how they've exploded like everywhere now. I think pretty much you'll see, if it's games related, there's normally a special effect angle in there, so it's great to see how huge they've got since we started speaking to them.
Yeah, another thing about the coffee, guys, is if you want to buy the coffee, you can go on firebox.com. You could just search 9-bit Mega Coffee. Nice name, I have to say, and it's quite, I wouldn't say affordable, but it's a good price. It's, 9 different blends of coffee bean. Never knew there was more than 9 coffee beans, but
Yeah, a blend of 9, and we kind of do a few giveaways, so I'm sure we'll be doing a couple of giveaway packs for some of your listeners, so I guess keep an eye on your Twitter and things, and we'll do a couple of giveaways, I'm sure, so if people do want to try it before they buy it, kind of keep an eye on that, and I'm sure we'll give some away and give people a chance to try it.
Awesome. I'm sure it tastes nice, because, you know, the whole 9 blend, but the thing is, I'm not a big fan of coffee. And I'm just gonna say that from now.
Disgraceful.
The thing is, I prefer tea.
Yeah, nothing wrong with tea. I just reckon you haven't had the right coffee. We've converted a few people over, so.
But maybe your coffee might convert me over to coffee.
Yeah, hopefully we'll turn you to the dark side or whatever, and get you drinking coffee, not tea.
But I love tea. It's just, if you guys made a tea, it would just make me so happy.
At some point, it was something we looked at, and it was just because we're kind of a tiny company. It was, you kind of have to do it all bit by bit. So we'll do something at some point, but for now it's just doing the coffee, kind of see how that goes, and if we can do a tea, it's definitely like bigger than coffee, I suppose. So at some point we will.
Now let's talk about the actual bar itself, the location. So where is it situated?
So we're tucked away in Falmouth, Cornwall, which was kind of based on me having been to uni down here and just sort of knew the area, and the fact it was my solo crazy scheme, so the budget was small and it was about finding a building that I could take over. So yeah, we're tucked down in Falmouth, and then we've been here kind of 2.5 years. We've done a few cameos other places, so we did a Capcom community event last year and Gadget Show Live this year. We supported Turtle Beach, so we're not kind of stuck here, that we do go and do different bits and pieces, and obviously with things like our Indiegogo, we're desperate. The plan is to get something going up in London sooner rather than later, but it's just finances and getting it together and making it happen. But
okay, so yeah, talk more about this kind of Indiegogo project thing that's going on.
yeah, so we did the Indiegogo, and we're looking to see with all the kind of crowdfunding. We were a little bit before Kickstarter spread over here, so we did that and raised some money. It was about kind of just taking what we did down in Falmouth, but doing it on a bigger scale, and asking people that had seen our things or liked our stuff to kind of back us in some small way just to help make it possible. So it's been really good off the back of that campaign, with different kind of companies getting in touch and other people coming on board to help, and I think it's just kind of proving to other people that there is an interest in that. So people obviously saying that they'd love that kind of space to exist, because there's nothing really like it if you just want to kill some time or whatever, or with the way we kind of promo games, it's just a nice way of, if you're not sure where to spend £40 on a game, it would be ideal if you can just go grab a Coke or a beer, get 15-20 minutes with a game, kind of pay a couple of pounds, at least have a chance to try it before you buy it. So that side's been really interesting, just to see how people have liked getting to play things, and it's meant people have tried things they never would have tested. So kind of Rayman Origins we had, and the amount of people we managed to persuade to play on that and give it a try, which they wouldn't have had it just been kind of sat on the shelf. It's just been good for that. So we've probably promoted a few games, and because you're not paying to play the game, it's always, people give it a little bit more of a chance, whereas if you've got to buy it, you're normally quite selective and stick with what you know.
So you mentioned on your website that it's kind of based on the gaming cafes of Tokyo.
Yeah, that was...
So I was thinking, do you guys like have the Japanese games in there, or is it just strictly based on like Western?
We're pretty shameful that it is mostly Western, and we've got the arcade table, which has got a few obscure titles on it and things I've never heard of, but in general, yeah, it tends to be kind of the more Western things, and if people ask for stuff, we'll get it in or we'll pick it up. So it was just like reading different articles on the internet, so you've got 16 Shots and 8-Bit Cafe, they just look like great places, and it was about bringing something like that over here, so where these people have just opened up small spaces, and there's a load of consoles, you can kind of pick your game, pick up a drink, and it's like a nice relaxed atmosphere, and we were seeing whether that could work over here, and so far so good. So it'd be nice to see a few more places pop up. There's kind of Kyoto Lounge in Manchester that I've seen, and Extreme Gaming that's more kind of hiring consoles rather than bar side, but that near London. So there's a few spaces popping up. It'd be interesting to see where it goes in a couple of years and how many more people get places open. And as gaming kind of gets bigger, it just sort of made sense to me. If you're going to go in a pub that's got like a pool table, why not have like a couple of consoles in there and have that as something instead?
Sounds like a cool kind of concept, and I just want to talk more about, you were mentioning that you worked in like a restaurant, you were a chef, so have you ever thought about expanding the loading bar so it's it's a restaurant as well, or?
Yeah, originally it was a good excuse to kind of get out of the kitchen, so I cheated a little bit and didn't focus on food so that I could hide from the kitchen for a while, but we're pretty good friends, so with Indiegogo, if you've seen Gourmet Gaming, that does a lot of the kind of food from games and then they recreate them, so I'd definitely love to do some stuff. Once we've got more space, for sure, bring in a little bit of that and team up with them and bring some of their dishes and make it easy for people that can't recreate them at home and give them somewhere to come and get them, so for sure food at some point. And there's obviously a few good names like Metal Gear Salad or something, I'm sure. Give us a bit more to play with, so we'll do something with food at some point.
Let's talk more about the kind of the Indiegogo. There's this kind of, I would say, perks. Well, it's mentioned as perks on this kind of site, that the more you donate, the better perks that you get. So would you like to run through them?
Yeah, so we had a couple of different perks. The main lowest one we tried to push was the $5 perk, which was just about people kind of saying they liked the idea, and then for their $5 it was a kind of custom wallpaper we were getting done, so a bit like a tweet style message. Anyone that donated $5 or above kind of got to put their message out there and put it on the wall, and we were featuring it on the website, and then as it went up it was kind of the usual things like a t-shirt and hoodie, which we did through Insert Coin, and then we kind of got a few of the companies that sponsor us to put some kit together, so there were higher tiers with things like Mad Catz fight sticks, Turtle Beach headsets, and the coffee came in, and then higher ones of kind of letting people pick a cocktail, so a few people chose that one, then we're just waiting to hear what choices they made. So I think Mirror's Edge was mentioned, and it'd be nice to see what those guys come up with for what they want to see on the menu, because it's pretty rare that we just kind of get told what we're working on and get given a clear idea, so it'd be nice to see what games they pick, and might take me out of my comfort zone if they pick something really obscure, so I'm interested to see how that comes together.
So let's say I donated and I picked Dynasty Warriors.
Mm-hmm.
What would you think about that? What's the first thing that comes to your mind in terms of drinks?
Good question. I haven't played it for years, so trying to think what we do for Dynasty Warriors. I guess kind of the epics. It's usually whenever we do a drink, it's looking at what makes those games unique. So I suppose Dynasty Warriors, from whenever I remember playing it, was kind of epic scale battles. So I'm guessing it would have to be something epic. It would take a bit of research. I'd have to play some Dynasty Warriors again and get back to grips with it. Yes, definitely. That's one I look into. It's something we haven't done anything along those ones, so obviously like Ninja Gaiden, Dead or Alive, we haven't done anything with kind of those guys at the moment, so I'm sure at some point they're on the hit list that we want to work with everyone, so that could be the one we end up doing.
Possibly. And Tecmo Koei, if you're listening, which I really hope you are, please be sure to check out the loading bar and kind of talk to James here.
Yeah, it's been kind of the ones we have worked with, it's been a strange mix of either people have got in touch with us or we've approached them, or it's that thing of fans. So like the Binding of Isaac thing we did was just someone went through the Facebook and dropped us a message and said, could we do something for that? So we put the kind of shot set together for them, and that then ended up getting picked up by like Edmund Macmillan, and kind of he put it out through his blog and Facebook, and it's nice. Definitely doing the more indie based things have been good because the person behind the game got to see it, so we've got a few bits lined up, and there's a couple of indie games we're looking to do some drinks for. So Thomas was alone. There's Fist of Awesome that's up on Kickstarter at the moment that we might do something for. They're definitely a little bit more fun just because you know that the creator saw it, whereas the kind of big publisher ones, it never really gets that far, or you'd never hear what they thought of it. So with the Metal Gear thing, it was nice that we got to give it to Kojima properly and hand it over to him, and you can see their reaction, which makes it a little bit more worthwhile.
Awesome. Let's talk about the coffee again, because I just noticed that you have that kind of, you know, the old school Sega kind of branding. I wouldn't say branding, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, it's kind of that art style. Obviously, you've got Insect Coin have just done their range. I think it's sort of from like my age, so I'm 26, and I remember my older brother picking up a Mega Drive, and it's definitely, I guess, anyone around kind of mid-20s. Mega Drive and SNES were the two that were obviously huge when we were younger. So my designer, when I went to him, and obviously he had my kind of logo with the cups, he went straight down that kind of Genesis Mega Drive vibe of kind of grid background and bringing in as much of that as he could, and I went along with it because it's the console after the Master System I had as a kid, so it was great to be able to bring that back a little bit, because you don't really see it obviously with Sega now just making games. So it's good to see it coming back with kind of t-shirt designs, and I think you see a few more things kind of bringing back that Mega Drive style. It definitely kind of had a distinctive style, whereas you had the kind of Super Nintendo that was always seen as a little bit more kiddie, if that's not going to offend some people that love the Super Nintendo. Obviously Mega Drive always seemed to have the more adult games, so I think it definitely appealed to me when I was smaller for that reason.
And speaking of Sega, were they okay with the whole branding on the coffee, or? Yeah,
they obviously, we've sent it to a few people that work for Sega, and they've kind of seen it, and a few people were worried it might be a little bit too close, but it was always designed kind of from scratch, so we didn't take anything that was designed by Sega and kind of Photoshop it and make it look different. It was all kind of custom created, so touch wood so far, yeah, we haven't been sued yet, so they're a company we're still speaking to about trying to bundle in some codes with the coffee so you get a game with it, so eventually we'd love to be able to slap the Sega logo on it properly and do a bit more promo for them, so that's where I'd like to see it go, but it's getting in touch with the right people and seeing if we can afford to pay them the money to get them to approve it, but that would definitely be something I want to do, but we'll see. It's just get, so maybe any of their licensing people listen to this podcast, drop us a message, that'd be sweet.
Ooh, let's talk about the private hire. So how big is the actual venue? Like your...
So loading was about kind of 30 people, so it's much more. That's why whenever we've done private hire, it's kind of been either for games testing or just smaller parties. For bigger events, we take over nearby venues. There's our local Polytechnic where we've kind of take all our kit and set up there, so kind of we'll always upscale or downscale as we need to. It's been quite nice to take what we do and do it elsewhere and take it on the road, so I want to do a few more of those, and kind of obviously with all the expos that are on all year, that's something we're looking to do more of next year when the season comes around again. And it's just awkward because what we do with drinks and different venues have different rules, so whereas Get Show Live we could do coffee, in Earl's Court we couldn't because Earl's Court have different contracts, and red tape means it's not so easy for us to take what we do to there, but hopefully we'll be kind of doing things like you've got the Insomnia event, so we're looking to do some bits with those guys next year and make it a bit easier so people that want to get a taste of what we do don't have to come all the way down to Falmouth.
Okay, so you're talking about like moving to different places and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
So in theory, could someone just say, okay, I want you guys to be at this event, I want to hire you guys to do the drinks, would you be able to do that, or?
Yeah, that's something, so the bits of work we've done with kind of game launches and helping companies out, that's how it kind of worked with those guys. Or there's been different ones. So we did that wasn't game related, the Eat Your Heart Out event, which was just someone got in touch with me and explained what the event was, and it was kind of, was I interested in doing it? And it wasn't, they weren't going to pay me to go and do it. It was what money we made while we were there we got to keep. So if people are putting together events or expos and all that sort of thing, it's, if we can afford to come up and do it, it means like we'd happily go and support things. And definitely it's been nice to have people get in touch, and Game City was obviously great last year for us to be able to go up, and with the way they work, if you just take over separate venues and run your own smaller events alongside theirs, that was a good taster of what that sort of thing was like. And kind of more and more people are putting on events and more gaming ones, so we'd love to do a couple more. It's just, yeah, drop us a message and remind me that I'm supposed to go and do it, because half the time we pencil in events and then forget about them, or kind of events happen and if you're too busy doing something else you completely miss it, and then when it comes around it's just a bit too late for us to get involved with it. So if there's one anyone knows about, yeah, feel free to tweet it at me, chuck us a message, or just complain why we're not there and we'll do our best to try and go there.
Well, that's nice to see. You know, not many companies do that kind of thing, and it's nice to see that you guys are striving, doing your best to pretty much make people happy, which is awesome. So yeah, as James mentioned, if you want to tweet the Loading Cafe /bar, you can tweet them at Drink Relax Play. It's one word. Just tweet them. You can do it now, actually. Actually, no. When you're listening to the episode, it'll probably be like 2 weeks after the recording of this. But you know, information is still there. Another thing is that we're gonna have to wrap up this episode, but I want to end with some questions. Do you mind?
Yeah, far away.
So, what is your favorite drink that you created?
Favorite drink, probably for like every element that came together, it was the first one. So the GNT virus. Just because the name worked really well, like the art style with the syringes, people tend to go nuts for getting to keep syringes, and it fitted with the game content, and it was the first one, so you're always a bit biased towards kind of the one that helped get us going, so I'd say GNT virus.
Another question, if you can go into any location to set up shop, where would you go?
As we've done the Indiegogo, it's got to be London. We got a few complaints from people, obviously, because London does tend to get everything first, but the main reason for us wanting to do that was just the games companies are there, and for doing their events and working with them you kind of need to be near them. So after London it'd be places like Manchester, Bristol, so I'd say London, but that's not to say we don't want to do everywhere else as well, it's just London will be best for us to begin with.
I see what you mean, but would the one in Cornwall still be open, or would you just close shop there and then switch to London?
No, to begin with, the one in Falmouth would stay the same. It would just be about finding more people to kind of get involved and getting the right people to take places over or help run them or kind of staff them. It's always difficult to get people on board that are the right people for it, so as long as we can get the staff together, like we keep it together. And the other thing we've had people get in touch with is things like franchises, so if someone is sat there thinking like why isn't it here, feel free, get in touch. Like either we can help people and explain like how I got it started, or if they're interested in doing like a version of Loading where they are, by all means get in touch again, and that's the kind of thing we're looking to do. So if we can help make it easier for people to set up their own places, like that's a good thing, I reckon. So
yeah, so thank you very much, James, for coming on the podcast. It's actually an honour to have you on, I have to say.
Oh, no worries, thanks for letting me come and ramble on your podcast. Apologies.
You don't need to apologise. Anytime you want to come on the podcast, just be sure to tell me. And I hope you guys have actually enjoyed this episode. So yeah, see you guys.
Be sure to subscribe to the podcast. We work in the dark to serve the light. We are gamers. Nothing is true. Everything is permitted.